Carlos D. Today we're going to be talking about high school junior year. What do you think about that,
boy.
Carlos?
Uh, well, first of all, thanks for having me back on for the podcast.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna be, oh man, this is gonna be an interesting year to talk about. Now, before we start talking about the retreat and everything, I will say this, and I feel like I speak for most of us here. Junior year or whatever, year of 2019, 2020 that you had, probably the worst school year, I'd say. Would you agree?
Yeah, it blowed.
Yeah, it blew really hard. Um, but anyway, let's talk about this year's retreat. And, ugh, oof. I mean, when we first got to that same camp, and it was the same one from our sophomore year, not the one from our freshman year still. And we actually had a mini house this time, and it was kind of nice.
Oh,
It
so
was
this is
such a
also,
nice space.
this is the first year of the house system, and so me and Jacob were like the only other person I knew that was in the house system that I actually liked. So me and Jacob had to go to the retreat spot probably like a day early, and we had to set it up for everybody and stuff. And then we played 9 square little volleyball crap at night, and it was super hard to play because you couldn't see the ball. And then we went to bed, and me and Jacob slept. See, where do we sleep? They gave us the trashiest spot because we were one of the younger house people. They didn't give us our house, the little house that we had when everyone else came. They gave us this.
Yeah, we didn't get that till the day after, right?
We got this garbage sleep spot, and then the next day everyone else came, and then and see what happened first.
Well, let's start with when everyone got there. So
Yeah.
I will say, before we actually talk about what actually happened at the retreat, we did get a couple new guys in our class. We got Blake Restivo, who was known for his glorious mustache, and then we got Ryan Frampton, who was from oh, well, actually no, weren't they both from Whitefish Christian Academy?
Yeah, they both came from the same school.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they were just new guys. I mean, I didn't really get to know them. I feel like I got to know him a tiny bit, maybe not so much with Blake, since Blake was more quiet out of the two. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of our first introduction to them officially when
We were
stayed overnight with them.
playing Doubt, the card game.
Yeah, that was fun. That
What's
was
the
really
actual
fun.
name of the card game?
Well, there's many. I think the official name is Bluff, but we either said BS or Doubt.
I said Doubt. Doubt.
Yeah.
That's so fun. We should play that again sometime.
Yeah, and it's an easy game to play too. Not super easy to win, but it's definitely very fun to play, for sure. But we played that at first, and then we did the typical retreat stuff. We did the games, we did the meetings and the dinners and the night games and stuff. And let's actually talk about that night game, because that was a pretty interesting night.
Was that the
night
trash
game
one?
For sure? So it was the one where you had to get those markings on your hand.
Oh, dude, that was the best night game. Not necessarily because it was fun to play, just because we won. This junior boys
Yeah, we won.
got all the candy.
Okay, but remember at first, the concept of the game, we actually weren't a super big fan of it, right? Mm-hmm. And so all of us decided to just try to skip on the night game. And so all of us just got in the water at night, and we went on that the floating dock, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, we're all out in the water.
And we were just kind of messing around.
And then Tinkin was out there. He's like, guys, you gotta play the game. It's like,
but this game blows, Tank. Like, come on, man.
We had to we had to solve riddles from each teacher, and it was crap.
Yeah, riddles.
And then the seniors were running around.
Riddle me that.
The seniors were running around marking our wrists if they caught us. And
Yeah.
Josh got first place because
No. Josh got second place. You know who got first place?
Who got first?
That was Josiah.
Oh,
that was
that's right.
Josiah.
Okay,
Because Josiah actually played the game and he went ham. I mean, he ran. He scraped himself so many times on his shin, and he actually clutched up.
When we were first playing, like when they first announced it, we were all like, "Oh, this is garbage." And then Josiah's like, "I'm gonna win all the candy for you boys." Like, all right. And he went out and won all the candy.
And the thing is, he did. Like, him and Josh practically won all the candy.
Well, Josh was with the rest of us, but then what happened was we actually had to start playing because we were kind of forced.
But then when we actually started playing, Josh and Joe were kind of like going out, and then the rest of us were kind of messing around.
Every time we got caught, Josh would always like stay in the back, and they would never mark him because he would just start like having a conversation with them, like, "So how's it going?" and stuff like that. So then they'd like forget to mark him, and then so he never had any red marks. He only had black marks from the teachers when he.
We would be the one taking one for the team. We take one for the team. Yeah. And it was worth it, though, because when we got back into the chapel room, we won.
I can't remember who got third place. I think it might have been Jake Wilkie.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I feel... Didn't he, like, wear that, like, trash bag, like, black trash bag and that chrome mask that you could actually see through that had the smiley face on it?
He said he was going to... He's going to jump scare people.
Did he end up actually getting it anyway? Because I don't think I even ran into him.
I never even saw him. He probably just fell asleep in a bush or something. I don't know. He might have jump scared somebody. I don't know. Jake Wilkie, if you're listening, do a fact check because I can't remember.
Okay, yeah. And then, so we did that game, and then we went back to our cabin. And they were playing this really long game. It's called Risk.
Oh, right? Yeah. Risk is great.
And so, yeah, were you playing or were you watching?
I played.
Can't remember.
I was playing.
Oh, okay. So it was, I think it was Josh, Ryan, Blake, and you? Were you guys the four people playing?
I think Ethan was playing too, maybe. Ethan got out like really quick because we all kind of ganged up on him. And then...
Yeah, you betrayed him.
And then they all ganged up on me because I was like semi-winning. I was like co-winning with Josh, I think, or Blake. It was either Blake or Josh I was co-winning with. And they're all like, "Let's just kick out Micahs." And then they all ganged up on me. But then, whoever was in first, I think it was Josh, he had mercy. So then he left me to survive in like Brazil. I had like one piece in Brazil. And he just let me chill there all the way until the end of the game. And then he killed everyone else. And then he killed me. So I technically got second because he just let me survive for the whole game.
That's great. And so, I don't know why. I think just all that running around just got me super tired at the time. And so, I decided, I'm going to just head to bed. I'm like really tired. And what did you guys do to me?
Should I tell it from a me perspective or from a you perspective?
Tell it from a you perspective.
And then we can do... You can tell your perspective after I tell mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell yours first.
So there I was with the boys playing Risk, and we all thought we're hungry, so we were trying to make some food. And Legend was like, "Dude, I could make some caramel out of the sugar that's in the cabinet." But we all convinced him not to because he was going to burn the house down. So, and then we found a rat in an old water bucket that died.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's cook up the rat and then saute it and then cover it in caramel. And it didn't happen, but, we were thinking about it. Anyway, in one of the shelves, we saw some Tabasco sauce. We were like, I don't really want to eat this. And then somebody, I can't remember who, or they'll just remain nameless, They were like,
No,
look,
no. I am calling them out once I get my chance. I'm calling them
I
out.
think it was Josiah, and we were like, dude, let's go in and. Because Carlos is asleep in there. Let's see if his mouth is open. Oh, we could pour some Tabasco sauce in there. So then we all flood into the room. Like 9 of us guys are in there, all hovering around Carlos's unconscious body. And we're like, there he is. And we look, and his mouth was wide open. Oh yeah.
What
So
did
then
you say in the Reeves Chronicles again? Like, his
he
lips were as
his
wide
lips
as
were
the
as far
Lord would
apart
allow.
as the Lord would allow, and. So then we went and grabbed the Tabasco sauce, and Josiah ran back in all sneakily, and we all followed behind him. And Josiah went ham on the little drops inside Carlos's
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah. Here's the thing. Most people, they put like maybe 2, 3 drops. No, this guy put like 8 drops in my mouth. Like, literally.
And
8
then
of them.
you rolled over, and we are like, oh crap, he's waking up. So then we ran out.
Is that why some of it was like on the mattress? Like, that explains why like the
So
mattress
we all ran
smelled
out.
so bad.
We all
for
ran
the
out
rest
and
of the
like
night.
pretended like nothing happened. We're like, oh, nothing's happening. And then
You guys waited.
it was probably like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, and we're playing Risk, and we just hear like a slap on the top bunk because you're on the bottom bunk. And slap, bah, F. And then you get out of your bed, and then you go over to the sink, and you're trying to get some water in your mouth, and it's just no relief. And then you come over to where I'm sitting, and you grab my shoulder, and you firmly grasp it, and then you I think you grabbed Jacob too. Jacob was standing there.
Yeah, and you know how
Where's
you know,
my
Batman's
water
like,
bottle? You said, and then
yeah.
the legend pulled it out of the fridge and was like, "Here it is, keeping it cool for you because we felt bad." And then Carlos took his
No,
water
let
bottle.
me explain. No, let me take it from here. I want to continue on.
Okay.
So when I fall asleep, you know, I noticed like something was like mildly hot in my mouth, but it wasn't like starting to hurt real bad. And so I wake up and I notice like, dang, why is my mouth so hot? And then I look over, like I like turn my head aside and I see like this orange stain on the mattress, which first of all smelled awful, like really, really awful. And I get up and I'm like, these guys were messing with me. And then that's when it like kicked in. That's when the sauce really started to hurt. And so I like sprint over to the sink. I'm like trying to wash my mouth out. Doesn't work, obviously. And I was upset. And so, you know, like I was basically like walking over to you and I was like, where are they? Where are they? And then actually, Legend didn't actually give it to me. You actually said that it was in the fridge. And so I went to the fridge, took the water bottle, and it was like one of the Gatorade bottles, and it was actually my last Gatorade bottle because that was like the only one I had left. But I sat down on the chair, the water bottle in my hand, and I noticed some weird faces were being made at me, like as if something was going on still. And so I took a drink of it. Little did I know that not only did they put Tabasco sauce in that as well, they put some kind of pepper along with olive oil in it.
All right. So
Now me, obviously, I'm not going to swallow that. And so I spit it out on the floor as fast as I could. And that's what made everyone like start laughing.
good times, good times.
No.
That was the first night that we ever had with Ryan and Blake.
Yeah.
So they thought that we were like super weird. And then they were afraid to sleep. So then we all
Yeah,
had to go
all
to
of
bed.
us were. So
And then
I
dumped
were
like
just
you
staying
dumped
up.
like half a water bottle inside my bed, so I woke up
It's
all
because
wet.
you guys. Okay, you're seriously gonna compare Tabasco sauce plus olive oil plus pepper times 2 compared to just a little bit of water?
Did you get up in the middle of the night and do that? Because I I remember waking up
No,
in the
I
middle of the
did.
night.
I did it like right after. I did it like right after I got olive oil with the
No, I don't know.
water
Well, because
bottle.
I kept hearing things in the night. I'm like, Carlos is trying to get back at me, and I didn't even realize that I was soaking wet until the morning when I got up. And I'm like, ew.
I did it. I did it for you to you and Joe. Although it probably should have been just to Joe. But like
Josiah
the
was
problem is,
pretty mad at that.
everyone was just kind of in on it, and that's when I really realized you guys only liked me because you could have fun at my expense. Fair enough. I mean
Well, okay,
that
so
was basically how it was back then. I mean, it's
uh,
not like that anymore, but that's kind of how it was back then.
I would say freshman to sophomore year, a lot of people saw you as like um kind of weird, I guess. I don't know. And then junior year, at the beginning, it was still like that. But then by the end of junior year, you're one of the
Yeah,
boys. And then
yeah,
senior year was
we're gonna
fine.
discuss that transition as
It
well.
was it
Like,
was
so
weird.
we'll get
Yeah.
more into that later. So yeah, it was basically I it was just like, okay, I'm like getting sick of this. And here's the worst part: we didn't go to bed until like maybe 4 in the morning.
Yeah, because everyone was scared to go to bed.
But then we all went to bed. Here's the thing though, my mattress still had that piece of Tabasco sauce in it, and I could smell that. And so I'm like on the edge of the mattress trying to like avoid that scent for like as long as I could, but it just stuck with me. Now the worst part about all that was I lost all that sleep, and then we had to get up around like 6:30 and go on a soccer run.
The soccer run was nothing though.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't the run that was bad. It was just having to get up again.
Yeah. Do you remember
But
Colton
then
on
the
the soccer
day,
run?
no, what
He
was he doing?
so seniors do an all nighter every year. So he was
Yeah,
like
and
he was like
he
mega
was
tired, but he drank like so many coffees and so many Red Bulls that he
he
was like
drank like 15 Red Bulls, right?
something like that, and he was just
Yeah.
like jumping around in there, and we're like, what the crap is going on? And then he's like, let's go, boys, time for the run, let's go, and he's I and then
That
I'm
put me
pretty
in a
sure he like
bad
almost
mood.
cramped up on the run.
But yeah, the run was easy. I mean, we just let two cars go by, then we turned around.
Yeah, one car went by, and then Josh was like, all right, next car, we're gonna turn around and go back, and then we saw headlights like way out there. We're like, let's go, and then it went by, and we're like, all right, let's turn around. It was great.
Oh, okay. And then, but then the day after was like also pretty bad because now here's what was going on. We had to, since we had the house system, middle school was like combining with the high school for
Yeah,
that retreat.
that was trash. Like
And
usually that didn't
I'm
happen,
gonna
but
be
this year they made it happen. For
yeah.
some reason.
No one was happy about it because here's our philosophy. Here's high schoolers' mindset. High schoolers do not like being collaborated with middle schoolers, especially
just-
forcefully.
There's
Okay.
just so much of a maturity
Age
level
gap, and
between like as a
yeah,
senior hanging out with like a seventh grader. It's just really hard because
yeah, it's tough. It's
yeah,
like really tough, and we were juniors at the time
we were
too, so we
juniors.
weren't even that far away from
Senior
us
year.
the senior
Oof.
year. And so here's me like really on edge, also having to deal with these middle schoolers. Do, do
Yeah.
you even know like
I was like house
like
chaplain, so I had to like they'd ask me questions. I'd be like, Micah,
yeah.
how do I do this?
Well, like I got a bunch of my kids were like, well, it's honestly like just a bunch of the guys that were like from middle school, and they were so just loud all the time. I don't like even when I was their age, I was like nowhere near as like loud and energetic as they
I
were.
can't
I was
believe
just
how much they would like scream just randomly.
yeah, they would scream like no joke, they would scream. So like that was really annoying to deal with. And also the second thing, we were like the last people to go get to be called up to get breakfast. And there were like no pancakes left and like no sausage left and like very little left.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you get woken up by Tabasco sauce, get 2 hours of sleep, have to deal with those middle schoolers, and get practically no breakfast. Yeah, I was on edge for the rest of that weekend.
I'm pretty sure I ate oranges for that breakfast because none of the
Yeah.
middle schoolers wanted oranges. So I was like, heck, I'll eat these oranges. Oranges slap.
Orange, like, especially the mini oranges, like the
I could eat like 5
more sour ones. Like those are good. Those are really good.
Just eat 'em up.
And so yeah, I mean that was basically a retreat. I mean, we just did the house system, and
There
that
was no
pretty much
skit
it.
that year because we voted
Because
it out.
you all
in-house.
voted. Yeah, you all voted out.
That was my
skits.
idea, by the way.
A good idea.
Mrs.
I mean, I
Fetfight
wish
was
we
like-
did it the second year, but whatever.
Mrs. Fetfight. Well, I wasn't in-house second year, but Mrs. Fetfight was like, let's see, what did she say? She was like, "Do you guys have any ideas for house?" And I rose my hand and I'm like, "Can we get rid of skits?" And then she's like, "Well, we have to take a vote on that." And then we took a vote, and then like a lot of us voted to get rid of it. Let's go!
Did Jacob also? I bet Jacob
Of
also
course
like
Jacob
raised his
voted
hand.
against skits.
Yeah, of
He
course.
hates skits.
Jacob, I think Jacob hated the skits more than all of us, to be honest. And
I hate
yeah, I mean,
skits.
the only
suck.
thing I hated, skits do kind of suck. But then we let's actually talk before we talk about how each of our classes were, which I think I'm only gonna talk about like maybe 3 or 4 classes because a lot of them were kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the house schedule thing and the whole lunch situation.
Let's see. You want to talk about soccer?
Soccer? No, that I'm gonna save.
All
I
right.
want to save that for later.
So, house and lunch. What happened at lunch?
So no, there was nothing in particular that happened at lunch. It's just that, like, you know how back then middle schooler would do their lunch and then the high schoolers would do their lunch. Now they combine them. Like the middle school and high
that's
school
right.
had lunch at the exact same time.
So the middle schoolers
so
stole the lunchroom,
obviously-
so we couldn't sit down at the lunchroom. So we had to sit
Mhm.
out in the lobby, which wasn't too bad. I kind of
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, that you know, at first I was kind of upset to hear about that. But, I was like, hey, I don't mind not being in the cafeteria. I mean, it's just a place I went because the lobby was, like, usually filled up. But now, that was kind of our space now since we were, like, upperclassmen now. And we would always just sit at that one, like, table with, like, the blue chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool. And let's see. So there was that. And also, every like Wednesday there would be like a house meeting. So you want to discuss what yours were like first?
House meetings. We do have meetings with our houses. I was a chaplain, so every other week I would have to do like a little sermon slash bring your family or bring your house closer to God
Family.
type thing. So,
Family.
but they were trash because I couldn't even like talk about anything because I had like these set videos that I had to show, and then like ask questions when to ask questions, and they were garbage. And the middle schoolers were so awful. Oh my gosh. I'm standing up there, I'm trying to give a presentation, and this friggin' little boy is in the front and center twitching like a friggin' electrocuted man. And then the teacher's like, I can't remember what his name is, but it's like, would you stop twitching? And he's like, okay.
Was it Mr. Clement? Was it Mr.
No,
Clement?
I had Mrs. It was that new teacher. That's not even a high school teacher. She's a middle school teacher.
Haven?
No, it wasn't Haven. It was like Jones or something. Mrs. Jones, I think.
Oh yeah. I've heard about.
She's
it.
nice. I never had a problem with her. But like it was just so much pain trying to talk to these middle schoolers, and then like Colton was such a great man. Like, I wasn't like really that good of friends with Colton, but during like chapel periods, he'd be like the only high schooler that would answer my questions that I would ask, because Jacob wouldn't answer them, and then we had like yeah, shoot, what's that other kid's name? We had this other high schooler that wouldn't answer any questions. I think it was Kayla. Kayla wouldn't answer any questions.
Yeah.
And then I think we had Sophia
Okay.
Burrow.
Well,
Our
wasn't she
class,
like?
Sophia.
I mean, she only like been there for like 1 year, right? So like,
Yeah. So, but she wasn't.
she
Answering
wasn't
any
like
questions.
super new, but she was. I mean, it was just her second year there. So, I mean, I was kind of quiet, like during my like freshman year when I first came in for.
Oh, we
from
had
eighth
we had
grade year,
Jake.
but yeah.
We had Jake too.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I actually one time I came up to Jacob and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna ask this question, okay, Jacob, and I want you to say this answer."
Hey, one sec. I gotta knock on my door. I'll be right back. Sorry, man. Okay, sorry about that. It was my sister.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
what
offered me
was
like
it?
a little pizza bite. But anyway, what
Dude,
were you
pizza
saying?
bites? Did you take the pizza bites?
Yeah, I took the pizza bites.
Nice.
Come on.
Nice.
And they're not burnt, Grandma. Well, we can talk about that later.
talk
But
about that later.
let's keep going. Talk about the
So-
house thing.
Okay, so I had questions, right? And I gave Jacob my specific question. I was like, Jacob, I'm going to ask this question during chapel today. I need you to answer it. Here's the question. Think of an answer. Here's the answer that I would give. I even gave him an answer. And I was like, if you don't want to say that answer, that's okay. Say your own answer if you want. But I'm going to be asking this question, and I want you to say the answer. I was in
you.
chapel. I said the question. I look at Jacob, and he looks back at me with the most blank stare I've ever seen. I'm like, and then finally, he didn't say anything. He's just sitting there. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I look around the room, and no one else is saying anything. So then Colton has to save the day again. Colton answered like literally all of my questions. Awful. And then
Man.
afterwards, I was talking to Jacob. I'm like, Jacob, what happened? He's like, I forgot. I'm like, no, you didn't. You just didn't want to do it. Oh my gosh. Awful.
Jacob, you're okay. You may have really dumb moments sometimes, but you're not dumb enough to forget something he tells you like 20 minutes.
It was like
before
right before
it happens.
Right before.
Yeah, there's no way he forgot at all.
And then I went to
he-
Jake, and I did the same exact thing to Jake, and he did the same exact thing. He didn't answer it, and I was like, Jake, like, you say crap all the time. You're so loud when you talk, and then when it's your chapel period, when I need you to talk, you don't say anything. Garbage.
Okay, so that was the angry rant that we got from you.
Being a chaplain
And
sucked.
that's actually worse than like my house situation. For me, all the kids in my house actually talked. It's just that every now and then there'd be a kid here and there that just wouldn't say, intelligent things. I'll just leave it at that. And then we also had Eric as the chaplain.
Oh yeah.
As well, and he was pretty cool. And then I think we had for
I
my
like Eric.
captain. I think my captain was Julia. Yeah.
Really?
It
Did
was
we have
her.
her a captain? I don't even remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was. And then Mr. Veman was like the main teacher, so I was like, let's go.
I wish I had. We had Mr. Hembroff. I think Mr. Hembroff was our like main teacher junior year.
Well,
Or
no, I
was he
thought
gone?
he was
He was
done.
gone by then. Yeah.
He was gone. He was
gone.
gone, man.
We didn't even
He
have a high
dipped.
school teacher. We had Mr. Clement and Mrs. Jones, two middle school teachers. Oh no, we had Mrs. Henderson.
Well,
Mrs. Henderson. So like I was kind of disappointed, but nothing wrong with
man.
Mrs. Henderson.
I also
She's
had
just
Ms.
not-
Ms. B, and she,
Dude,
and she
Ms.
was like
B.
nice.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Wish I had
Uh-huh.
Mrs. B.
Yeah. So I mean that was pretty much it. I also had I had Ryan in my house as well, so I got to know him a little bit more.
Mhm.
And I also had Dominic in my house as well, so that was kind of cool. So I did have a few guys to hang out with and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the main house stuff. Now let's talk about. Do you want to talk about the classes first or the sports seasons first?
We should probably talk about soccer.
Okay.
That was like first.
So, this one's kind of complicated for me because I feel like it was at that time when I started to kind of feel like isolated from everyone. Because I wasn't on the team that you and Jacob and like all the other junior guys were, and I think it's fair that I wasn't, because I was still like, I got a lot better, and I was a starter for JV, but I wasn't like on varsity yet, since I just wasn't as experienced much, and so it just, yeah, I mean, like, overall, I think the season was, I got good, just not, not best, not that kind of thing.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning of the year, I failed the 2 mile.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Aurora. How did you pass it? Wait.
We'll get there. Anyway. I failed the 2 mile, and so I had to do it again. But before I did it again, they put me in a JV practice, and lucky for me, Hudson was in goal. Hudson stinks.
And so you got like 3 goals.
Yeah, I got like 3.
And then
I got like 5 goals in like 10 minutes.
Okay,
and then
here's the weird thing about that.
So then he moved me up.
You got a lot of goals. Now, I would have been disappointed if you didn't get any goals. I would have been like, really, Mikey? You can't get any goals against the new goalie? No, I think he's gotten a little bit better now.
I think he's better now, but he was 8th grader back then, so he sucked.
Yeah. Which I sucked. Everyone sucks. Like if they first start in an 8th grade year.
Oh yeah.
But
I sucked.
Anyway,
my freshman year.
And then the weird thing is, the coach for that JV team, he put this 8th grader for middle defense instead of me. And so while I was busy guarding another 8th grader like effortlessly, you were playing offense against another 8th grader. I'm like, dude, you might want to like switch it up. And so then I actually like asked this kid to switch up with me, and he did. Like he actually did. And then I was actually able to like make you work a little more, I'd say. And because you like scored 3 goals, and then I started guarding you, and then I think you had maybe you had a goal. I can't necessarily remember.
I think I had 5 in total, but I think I only had 1 when you started to guard. So.
Okay. Coincidence? I think not. Okay. Anyway, so then that happened. And then, I mean, when the season was like first starting out, it was okay. But then I realized, I mean, it was really that soccer season that, in terms of the sport and like my physical health, it was good for me. But in terms of my social life, that is what really took a toll on it. Because there was this game that I couldn't make it to because I was actually like not feeling well at all. Like I was pretty sick, and I even like talked to Mr. O'Rourke about it, and he was like totally chill with it and understanding. And I explained to him like the cold I have and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, you're all good, man." And I think I only missed like 1 practice just because I wasn't feeling good. But then I came back. Like a couple days after. But then for some reason all of you guys were like, it's like you guys were like pinning me to a corner and just starting to stab me with like multiple blades and machetes and stuff. And it literally started with Jacob too, because he was like, "Carlos, you look fine." that's why we're just not convinced that you were actually sick. And it's like, well, okay, so let's say hypothetically I get diagnosed with like a terminal disease, like the day, like yesterday. Does that make me like like looking fine has like no relevance to actually being fine? So I don't know what the crap like he was thinking of that. And then like Josh too, and like pretty much everyone was like kind of going in on it. And so I just kind of got thrown under the bus, while you all like got to go on your Canada trips and go to state and go on all your fun trips, while I was just stuck, by myself pretty much, because I didn't really have, I mean, I didn't have my close friends with me at the time. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of like my little rant there. But I mean, if you want to try to defend like your team on, go ahead. I mean,
I will be honest. Jacob, like Josiah, was always kind of like, okay, not
okay,
right now. This is in the past. So like at the moment, this isn't a thing. But back then, Jacob really didn't like you. And he would tell me like all the time, Carlos did this today, I can't believe it. I'm like, bro, just calm down a little bit. He's just, Carlos is just living. He's just trying to live. And then Josiah was trying to like be on your side, but he didn't want to like not be on Jacob's side, and that's probably how I felt too.
Yeah.
We were just kind of like, But then
I don't think you didn't. You were probably the one person that actually. I don't think I ever heard you make a comment on like me having a cold and like missing.
That's because I didn't give a crap.
I think
if you were sick for a game.
Yeah,
I wasn't
exactly. That's how it should have been. That's how it should have been for everyone. Everyone should have been like, oh, he had a cold. Okay, well at least he's back now. Like it should have been that, but no. Like everyone just kept throwing me under the bus again and again and again.
I don't know why everybody was making such a big deal about it. I mean, you weren't even on. Even if you were on varsity and you were sick, I still would have been like, that's a bummer. I would have been like, bro. That would
have upset. That would have upsetted me even more, because then because I wanted like nothing more than to be on that team with you guys. But then I slowly realized you guys didn't give a crap about me at the time, and so like, why should I even like bother trying to get on that team with you guys? And so it was just a tough situation from that standpoint. And also like I think my junior year, like I didn't really like Jacob that much either. And it started with that, but it was also, there's this one practice when we were like playing keep away or something like that, or I don't remember which game it was, but there's like two guys in the middle, and then there's another circle of guys, around us, and trying to pass the ball, make good passes. Jacob like kicked me in the knee, and like it was like not like on the actual bone of the knee, it was like the inside of the knee, where you can like actually get in deep and like do some damage. And it didn't really hurt. It didn't really like injure me or anything. It just hurt for like a few minutes. But then like Jacob is like sitting there like actually laughing at me. And of course I reacted to that. And then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy for just reacting to something that Jacob like did and then laughed about. Like, what was that? Like, I don't know what you guys were. I don't know why you guys.
I remember that.
Were like constantly throw me under the bus like so many times that season. And like the thing was like, whenever like I was actually like on the field playing, that at the end of the day is kind of like what made the season worth it. Cause like the coach Zach, he was saying how like he appreciated me like trying to like be an example for everyone, since I was like the oldest one on that team, and just trying to keep improving. And like he said himself too that he saw a lot of improvement within me, like both on a like personal level and in terms of my skill at the game. Yeah, he was awesome for me for like those years, and yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. So, I don't know. You want to talk about like any of your like Canada trips or state or something?
Let's see. So they put me in one JV practice, and then they moved me up to varsity. But I had to redo the 2 mile, and I had to pass it. So me and Josh were redoing the 2 mile, and Kyler.
This was funny. This
There's
was
three
funny.
of us. We're going down, and we're all dying. I'm dying so hard, and I'm behind everyone, you know. And then I see Josh. He like stops before we were supposed to, and then he just turns around. And then Kyler kind of like watches him do it, and Kyler's like, you know. And then he turns around, and then Josh passes me because I was in last. So Josh turned around, and then he passed me, going the other way. And he's like, just turn around. And then we all just turned around. I'll turn around. So then we all turned around. And then the girls.
Dude, I
right,
wish
like,
I could have done that.
Like 10 seconds after that, the girls, they passed us in their cars because they were going to go to their team bonding exercise. So then they're like, let's go, boys, let's go. As they're passing us, I'm like, oh, they don't even know.
And then I remember that day too. I went to practice like maybe like 15 minutes early, 20 minutes early, and I just remember pulling my car in and just seeing you lay down on the grass.
Yeah, it was awful. I mean, I still barely passed because we turned around probably like 100 yards early. It wasn't that much. But it was enough to put me below 13:30, and I think I got like a 13:20 on that one.
Oh.
So I was still like not having a good time.
Hey, remember when we did the first 2 mile and you just ran ahead?
Oh yeah, that was
everyone?
junior year.
Okay, here's what I've been wanting to ask you. Why did you do that?
Okay, so you know why. Anyway.
No,
Mason,
I honestly
you don't know.
remember.
Okay, Mason was running in front of me.
You didn't tell me.
And he had Mason's tall, and he has his big long legs, and he has that little run he does where he he uses his big long legs. And I was sitting behind him. I was thinking to myself, what a piece of crap! I hate this. And I have short legs, and I hate the 2 mile. So I was just angry. And I saw Mason up there. I don't know why it was Mason. Like, I don't have a problem with Mason. It's just seeing him up there.
It was just a tall it was basically not being tall is what really irked you.
And so I thought to myself, this is crap. I'm going to run. So I started just sprinting, and I passed everyone. Poor decision. And I sprinted for probably, all the way down FFA, and then we got to the stop sign.
And then everyone just
like
slowly started
yards.
passing you. Like, I remember I passed you, and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, it was probably 500 yards I full sprinted. And then Zach Bassnett was like, oh, good job, Micah, as I passed him. And I was dying. And then, yeah, I went to like a slow jog after that because I totally ran out of energy. And then everyone passed me.
Well, at least you didn't stop. If you stop, then, when you run the 2 mile, you need to like be in constant motion. You can't slow down by drastically or stop. Otherwise, it's going to even suck more to start again.
Yeah. Freshman year, I stopped running for like a little bit.
Yeah. I think I did too. Like when I first started.
Tired. It stinks. Anyway, so 2 mile, I did the 2 mile, and then I passed. Josh and Kyler passed. So then, yeah, that was the smoky year. So we didn't do a beep test.
No, we did. Oh no, we did the beep test.
You sure?
Yeah, it was sophomore year. That was the smoky year, and we didn't do the 120s. This year, we actually did the 120s as well.
All right, I guess we did both. That was sophomore year. Anyway, we did both, and I like failed at both. But back then, it wasn't like a requirement to do anything on those. It was just kind of like a see where you're at type thing. And then so we started playing soccer. We had Sandpoint trip. That was fun. We didn't spend the night that year though, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Did
we were in that church. Yeah, we were at the church.
Oh, that's right. That little boy. What was that little boy's name? That trash man that played basketball with us. And
I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say his name, but
you know who he is.
Yeah, do you want me to like text you the name so that you remember? Because I can do that
Just
right
give
now.
me the first letter.
Okay. No. I texted you his name
Oh.
right now.
Yep,
I
that was
texted you his
that was
first
his
name.
I see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You see
That
him?
man. That little boy. He wasn't even a man. Little boy. We're on the Sandpoint trip, and he keeps bothering us. You know, you were up there on the top with all of us on the Sandpoint trip where we slept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was like upperclassmen area, and then the lowerclassmen they got to sleep
Upperclassmen.
down low with all the coaches and stuff. But we all got
Mm-hmm.
our own area, and this boy, not a man, boy, he walked up there and he keeps bothering us. How you guys doing? You guys have any shin splints? No! Get out of here! What the crap?
Get out of here!
What the crap? Anyway, and then
that
Colton.
was
You remember what
awful.
Colton did during that?
Didn't he like turn on a
night.
flashlight and started doing like?
At night, projected things on the ceiling. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah, he projected very interesting things on that ceiling.
That was so strange. And then, so we played Sandpoint. We always lose against Sandpoint because they're better than us. But
yeah, they have a nice field though. They got a really nice.
They have
field.
a nice field and a nice stadium.
And then we played another game. I don't really remember what it was. Actually, no, I do remember. It was like that one field that had the cannon. Like, do you remember what team that was?
Bonner's Ferry.
Bonner's Ferry, yeah. So, on my team, we had a new goalie, and this new goalie practically got a heart attack every time the cannon went off. Like, I don't know why, but I mean, he would just get a heart attack pretty much every time the cannon would go off.
Yep, that sounds like him. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we destroyed Bonner's Ferry. Bonner's Ferry sucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, Canada was fun. I wish we could have went this year, or senior year. It sucked.
Yeah,
that we weren't
but
able to go senior year.
Yeah, well, I definitely do have some things to say about that, but I'm gonna save that for later. But I will. Long story short, the senior soccer year was easily my best one, though. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it did suck. We couldn't go to Canada because the federal government sucks.
Well, the Canadian government was like...
Well, no, it was the Canadian government.
No Americans crossed the border at this time, thank you. So we were all sad.
Yeah. Are they still like that, or...
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're opened up.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long.
It's been like a year, right? So
there are some states like California that are like, "Oh, it's coming back. Wear your masks," and they're doing mask mandates. Well, that's because
California. Okay, we may have like a more political podcast later on that's like shorter, but like California sucks, dude. Like everyone's like keep California blue. I'm like, no, California being a blue state is why all these Californians are moving to Montana, and I'm sick of that because then our population gets doubled, our traffic gets doubled, and our housing gets like quadrupled.
Yeah. Yep. Housing prices are way up right now because housing prices in California are way up. So the Californians come here and they're like, "Oh, this is super cheap. It's only $500,000. It's only $1 million. Shoot."
Oh no, like $500,000. I mean, I think most houses are like 800,000. My house is like worth 800,000 now.
Yeah, I know, but like before they all started coming over, like my house, probably like 2 years ago was worth like 200,000. And now it's worth like 450,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
Because it's just like burnt. Because Californians are willing to, and not just Californians, but other people from other states too. They're willing to pay more, so the housing prices go higher. So the natives, we don't make that much money.
Yeah,
so we can't.
We can talk a little bit more about housings and stuff during our senior year podcast because that was our senior year when the housing prices really started to have like a huge effect on us.
Anyway, where was I? Canada. We went to Canada. We defeated Canada.
Yeah.
We ate pizza in Canada.
Didn't
That was great.
wasn't there a game that you couldn't play because it was on a Saturday?
Yeah, the champion, because it was like a little tournament, so the championship game I couldn't play, so I was just standing there watching. And we lost
Okay.
in like the most awful way. So Hayden had a concussion,
Yeah.
right? Hayden
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
a beast at soccer, but he had a concussion. So he couldn't have any contact. So he was in like, the no contact but could still be there stage, So O'Rourke put him in because he wanted to do PK shootout because the time was at 90, so he put him in, and but he told Hayden, don't touch the ball, don't touch anybody. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, made the mistake of passing the ball to Hayden. So Hayden couldn't do anything. He's just standing there like crap. So then the Canadians take the ball and they do a little thingy and they score, and then the referee blows the whistle. Like the referee waited like 10 minutes. We had like 10 minutes of extra time until they scored, and then he blows the whistle right as they score. So I feel like the Canadian referees were kind of against us a little bit. So then we lost the tournament, but it was like a 2-night trip, which was super fun.
Okay. So that was fun, and you guys won state too. You guys won state.
Yeah. Then we had like the American state tournament that we had,
Mm-hmm.
and we were playing against Heritage. I think they're like the big competitors that we always have every year.
Yeah, they are.
And we beat Heritage in the semifinals, so then we knew we were gonna win. And it was a PK shootout. It's always a PK shootout.
And how many goals did Josh block again?
Josh blocked like 5 or 6 of them out of like 9. And then he scored.
That's good.
Josh scored a goal because he was last in line for the PKs. He scored a goal, so we were up 1, and then he blocked the other goalie's shot, so then we won. So we were like hyping up Josh, and we picked him up and carried him around the field, and that was fun. And then we played Helena, and Helena's trash, so we destroyed them in the championship. But that was a Saturday. I wasn't even at the game because it was a home game, so I wasn't even there.
Oh.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
I'm not even in the picture where they're all holding up the trophy because I wasn't there. I wanted to go, but I don't know. I was thinking like, I probably shouldn't, I guess. So then I didn't. So I wasn't there for like the championship celebration thing. But yeah, we won.
Dang.
Destroyed Helena, and it was snowing.
We won. Then everyone pretty much got their plaques at the end of the season. And then what other sport came up? Basketball. So this one's actually kind of interesting to talk about because I'd say this basketball season was actually not bad.
It was my best season,
for sure.
I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I got a lot better at basketball too. Like when I asked Andy about like the tryouts and stuff, he's like, Carlos, you came a long way like since you like first started, and so I got a lot better at the game, and we were actually like on like a CJV team, and so we actually got both of us actually got moved up to JV.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know why we had to like actually like, how do I say this? That position wasn't just handed to us. We had to like actually like go like get it too. Like it wasn't like, oh, you guys are juniors, you move up. It was like, no, you gotta like get your spot.
Well, because they both put us on C squad, and then they were like.
Then a week later, it was literally like a week later when they moved us up.
Yeah, I can't believe they put me on C squad again junior year, and I was like, bruh, really? And I'm sitting there playing C squad, and then finally they're like, oh, I guess you're good enough to be on JV. It's like, what the crap? Like,
yeah.
I was treated like such crap during every single basketball season. Freshman year was fine. Sophomore year, I was, like a starter on C squad. I started, and, I was good. And then they had me a swing to JV. I never played in JV, but they still swung me up. And then junior year, for some reason, I don't know how the coach got this in his mind, but for some reason he just like thought that I was trash. and like I couldn't, no matter what I did, I couldn't move up, and I was just always trash to him. And then senior year, okay, we'll get to senior.
Okay, no.
We'll get to senior.
No. We are saving that. I will probably go on an angry rant, just to let you know. So, please
I'll probably
make sure
will
you
too,
turn your
'cause
microphone down.
It was ridiculous. The whole thing.
It was
just
so stupid. But yeah. So yeah, that happened, and I will say, for the most part, it was better, and we ended the year on a good note too. Except, you know that one kid we were talking about earlier, you know, the one that was bothering us upstairs,
During
and the
Fan
one you
Point,
said,
yes.
yeah. So he wasn't like on our JV team, but he was like on their C team, and so he was technically part of our team, but
Wasn't it the
sometimes
year that
he
they
wasn't.
combined us?
Yeah.
They had like a freshman
Yeah, I
team,
think
and then
so.
they had a sophomore team, right?
Yeah, that was their first and last year pretty much doing that because
'Cause
there
they
were
had
like so
4
many
teams,
players,
and it
but
was
they
so garbage.
could have done just C. They could have done just
Well,
C.
because I was on like
But
the sophomore team, you know, and then I
mhm.
swung up to JV.
I was on the sophomores JV team pretty much. I wasn't on freshman.
But we
It was
always played with the freshman team. Every game that they played, we played because they didn't have enough players. And then
no,
every game we
it was
played,
every
they
game they
played.
played, we would sub. We were like mostly subs for that team.
Yeah.
And there were actually like a few injuries, so occasionally I would like be their star player in like one of the games. And there was
I
this
know.
one game where I scored like maybe like 20 points,
Yeah.
and that was fun. Like that was actually fun, and
Every
that's when
time during that season that they would put me and you in, we would like destroy. We were destroying them. And
yes,
like the other
sir.
teams, like I would score so many layups, do the little thingy. You know, I'm not very good at like deep shooting or like even mid-range shooting. I can only do layups. But I'm good at getting into the layups. It's just I don't understand why they just thought that I
Remember,
was trash.
there was this one time though when you could have passed me the ball since I made a cut
I remember.
to the rim, and the guy defending me, you know, was just too slow. And you could have passed me it right there. And I was like, okay, you know what? We're winning anyway. It's not a big deal. But Legend got so mad at you
Yeah.
for not passing me that ball.
Yeah.
He's like, Micah, why aren't you passing the ball? And you were like, no, it's sorry. And then he's like, Micah, why didn't you pass him the ball?
Yeah.
Like,
Legend's fun. I like Legend. No, that was Josiah's
Legend.
last year too. Because that was
Yeah.
Josiah's hip flexor year. So he had a bad hip flexor.
Yeah.
He was on
Mm-hmm.
varsity sophomore year. He was varsity player sophomore year. And then
He got demoted
and then he
because
got
he
injured.
got injured.
Yeah, and then the coach was
Yeah.
like, "Hey yo, you're going to play with all the trash players this year." And Josiah was like, "I was on varsity last year." And Andy was like, "Things change." What does that mean, things
And
change? Your opinion of us
and
changed?
then yeah, as soon as he like loses, pretty much what I've learned is that as soon as the head coach like loses faith in someone or like sees a fatal injury, he just throws them under the bus. And there's even more evidence for that because at first Josiah was actually offered to go to state. And then Josiah was like shocked, and he was like, "Wow, thank you so much, Andy." And then but then, like, I don't know how much more time had passed, but then all of a sudden, the head coach was like, so, Josiah, you didn't seem super grateful to be on the team, so we're no longer offering that to you. I'm like, what? Like, do you expect Josiah to, like, bow to his knees and, like, do, like,
Yes,
a
Master Andy, I would.
mess?
Oh, it is my life's dream to go to
Yeah,
state.
yeah, like, what? And so, yeah, I mean that also really sucked for him too. And then, yeah, I mean for him, I do still feel bad for his season, but our season was like actually not bad. And
It
also
was a little
the
bit
final
disappointing for
game.
me.
I mean, I did kind of have beef with that one kid, but you know I wasn't with him most of the time.
I
Like
hated that
I
kid.
just wasn't.
That kid sucked.
And then the final game, against that same team where I scored like 20 points on. That game was fun because like all the younger kids got like caught cheating on a test or something.
Oh yeah.
Via security camera footage, caught in 4K if you say, and so they all were all like, you know, when you obviously if you're in school like you cheat, you know you get a 0,
and then you become ineligible.
yeah, you become ineligible, and so all of us took a road trip over there, played that game, and we destroyed them by like.
Which team was that?
Fifth, I think it was Ronan.
I think so.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean that was just a fun game in general. You know, it wasn't like a super intense game. We were like actually having fun during that game.
Yeah, we were having fun. You know, we're doing like alley-oops to each other and stuff. And then Falk's like, "You guys need to take the game a little bit more serious. We're winning by like 50 points, man." I mean,
and that's our last game too. Like, why can't we like?
And it's the last game. I mean,
we were literally.
It was last
no
game
sarcasm
playing,
whatsoever. So. We were winning by 50 points. Like literally over 50 points. We were winning by.
And then he took me out like halfway through the game, and he's like, "We're winning by too much. I think that you probably shouldn't be playing anymore." It's like, what? What? And then he put me in for like the last 10 seconds. He's like, "All right, get in there, Micah." It's like, bruh, you kidding me?
There was also he put Mason in, and there was this one like really short kid, and like Mason, the short kid, he was probably as tall as like my shoulder maybe,
like 5'6".
And yeah, no, I think even shorter. Like he was shorter than like my mom.
Oof.
Was. He was like maybe even to like my lower chest was like his height. But anyway, he goes to shoot a 3, and like once again we're still winning by a ton. And so honestly, I would have just let him take the shot if I were the one guarding him. But Mason, oh good old Mason, buddy, he slaps that ball right in front of him, and as I'm like sitting down watching from the bench, I look over at Mason's mom, and she's like covering her mouth and going like,
I know.
Bah!
Mason's
and I'm
mom
like,
was like, she was okay. Mason is more like his dad than he is like his mom. So his mom is like, sometimes Mason does something and his mom's like, "Oh, why'd you do that?" But like, yeah, fun times.
No, that was like so brutal of Mason to do. I don't know what. And he's just a kid. I think he was literally just in middle school. So literally, he was just a kid. I mean, but whatever. I mean, wait, what the heck? So yeah, that happened. And that was a fun game. You know, we ended on a good note. And then, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the end of our season. I mean, there's not really much.
I just remember that I got like screwed over so many times that year, and I was just okay
not
with
as
it
much
because
as
I was like,
next
oh,
year.
you know, soccer was going good for me, and every other basketball year was the same. So I was thinking, oh yeah, you know, next year will be better, blah blah blah.
Nope.
But like, I wasn't able to go to that one place. What's it called? It's like an overnight
Bozeman?
trip, and it was always super fun. It was like Sandpoint for soccer, but you know, it was basketball. But we didn't go to Sandpoint. We went somewhere else. I just can't remember what it was. And it was always super fun. And I went the year before that and the year before that. But this year, for some reason, they're like, no, we're going to let you play with the freshmen at Montana Academy, so you're not going to be able to go. So it was like, what the crap, bro? So.
That sucked.
And then we went to Montana Academy, and that's when I crashed my Jeep because I slid off the road on the ice and hit a rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like a half hour late to the game, and I sit down, and Coach Falk's like, so what happened? I was like, I wrecked my car. And he's like, oh. And I was standing there, and I'm trying to think, how am I going to tell my dad that I wrecked my car? I didn't wreck it. I just
I mean, you just ran into a
big boulder,
like
so
a rock. Yeah.
It kind of screwed some things over. I think it cost like $3,000 to fix or something like that. It wasn't no body damage, just all suspension stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm sitting there, and I'm like out of the game. I'm not thinking. I'm not like
I
in the
wouldn't
game,
be either. Like,
mentally.
honestly, if I were to crash my car, I'd be like, oh shoot, I'm dead. Like when I get home, I'm dead. Like I would, like you really think I would? Do you really? Did coach really think that your top priority would be the game, the basketball game, and not the fact that you wrecked a really expensive vehicle?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's not my car. I didn't buy that car. It was given to me. Well, not given. They let me use it
but
during
you were
high school.
borrowing. You were borrowing
Yeah.
it pretty much.
I mean, I still drive it because I still live at home, and I plan on buying it someday. But it's not mine. But yeah, and Coach Falk, he walks over to me because I'm like sitting on the bench, just staring blankly into nowhere, thinking, how the crap am I going to tell my dad that I crashed the Jeep? And then Coach Falk walks over to me and he's like, "You got to get your head in the game." I'm like, how am I supposed to get my head in the game? I mean, I can't think about basketball right now. I'm trying to figure out how the crap am I going to tell my dad. And then he puts me in the game, and I actually did pretty good, just because, I don't know. I think because I wasn't thinking about the game a whole lot, I think I got more loose than tense. And so I was just a little bit more.
So you were, in a way, you were like kind of able to relax on the game of basketball as you were tensing up about other stuff.
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was pretty much our basketball season.
Yeah, that was basketball. Junior, I mean,
and-
I would say sophomore year was probably my best year for basketball. Just because it was still like, I was still young enough, and all of my friends were still on on the C squad.
C. Yeah.
And so it was
Now-
nice. And then junior year, half of us were split up, and I just felt like I was, kind of like how you felt doing soccer. I was always seen as like second place, I guess. I was always in last in the eyes of others. Well, coach, in the eyes of coach.
So those were our sports seasons. I think we're done with that now.
Yep.
Before we move on to, I think there's only like 3 classes I mainly want to talk about. But before we talk about the whole COVID stuff, one thing I do want to, a little side tangent on is, remember how earlier when I like told you that like that year it felt like everyone was like having fun at my expense pretty much. So it really wasn't until like a few months into our junior year when I actually like told a few people about that.
Didn't
And
you
then
tell
they were like,
Levi?
"Oh."
No, Levi was gone by then.
No, I didn't. No, he was gone. I told you.
Yeah.
I told Jacob and Joe, and I
Yeah,
think
I
I
remember
told
us.
Legend.
I remember me
Like,
and Jake and Josiah kind of having a little talk about that. Because me and Joe were like, "Jacob, you're being kind of a jerk to him." And he was like, "Whoa, blah, blah, blah." And he was trying to defend himself. We were like, "Jacob, you just got to be nicer, man. I mean, come on. Carlos has done nothing wrong. And you're just, I don't know what the crap was going on in Jacob's mind back then. But he's cool now. He's cool now."
Yeah.
Because of that
But-
talk, that's when we all started to like, we got to actually start like being more of a friend to Carlos. I mean, I already was, but it was main.
Yeah,
it was-
you
it was-
kind of were at the time. It really, honestly, okay. Before we talked about how things went better for me after you guys were like talking and stuff, and I reached out to a few people. I think during our freshman and sophomore year, like, we were friends like loosely, but we didn't really hang out that much. And like whenever I made a joke, you were just like, "Mer, you're stupid," like that kind of in a joking way.
Yeah.
But then it really wasn't until like basketball season, because we played a ton like together during that basketball season.
Yep.
And so yeah, I mean, that was when like, and then honestly, it was the quarantine and stuff that like really, when we really started hanging out a lot more. But
Well, not in person.
anyway,
just so no one gets triggered.
not in person, but we'll talk about how we did it in a second.
Yep.
You guys are gonna love this one. But I remember I went back to I just remember going back to school and just like a week or two later, I just started to notice like, not everything was the same. Like I noticed like some people were like actually like not being like mean or anything, and just being a jerk at all. And so I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just use my words next time. Do that. Instead of just having just reactionary responses, which not many people can like. I mean, not anyone really changes anything based on someone having a reactionary response.
Sometimes you have extreme responses, I would say.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
did.
when you get mad, it's like you're mad, like really mad, but you're not really mad,
Mm-hmm.
but you look really mad. So it's all about how, like, I know when you get mad, if you're really mad or if you're just kind of like mad. I can tell at this point, but freshman sophomore year I couldn't really tell, and then junior year I was starting
No.
to get it, and then now I can. It's easy because I know you now, but I could see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
just because you would have big reactions to things, and it's not a bad thing.
Well,
It's a good thing.
I don't know if I do I
Not
think
anymore.
I occasionally do sometimes. Like, okay, let's think of like my frustrations as like a bottle of water that was just overflowing. I'm just like constantly annoyed by the littlest thing every single day. Just everything, anything that like could possibly annoy someone, it annoyed me. That's pretty much how I was. Now I'm more like, you know, it's either like the little bottle fills up and it spills out and it doesn't fill up for a long time.
Well, that's
Either
because
that or it fills up until it's like nearly empty and all dumps out at once.
we
Those are
joke
like the
about
two
things a
ways.
lot nowadays.
Yes,
Like work is crap. We're
very
like work
true.
sucks. Huh?
Yeah, that too. Let's see. So yeah, I mean everything like socially was also a lot better for me. But then that's when the classes actually started to get kind of rough on me, and I just felt like 110% like I don't even want to be here right now.
Yep.
Like I feel like out of all the times I felt that at school, this was definitely the year where I felt that the most. Um, so let's start with the class that we would have every morning at 8:05 a.m.
Bible class.
with Mr.
Mr.
Tinka.
T.
Okay. um, so when he teaches, he likes to go on tangents,
He gets
and
into
then
it.
he really gets into it, which I kind of like about him. But
He likes
any
what he's
class
teaching.
that's like at 8 o'clock, any first period class is like the class where I don't focus at all. I'm not paying attention at all, and I'm usually just staring off into space and just zoned out. Like pretty much all of us were like zoned out, and we would all just kind of like every like Monday it was like, yo, NTRs do this that, and then I would kind of just write. I just kind of do like half the answer, and then he'd be like, all right, I'll give you credit or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like I honestly like didn't even try in that class at all, just cause I was just getting so mentally fatigued of
I
like
don't know why,
everything,
but he was
like
watching me.
all the information that he was dumping on us. Like it was just so much, and I just
Mr. Tinkin would
couldn't
always.
really take it
Mr.
much.
Tinkin would always like get on my case, because everybody
Yeah,
gave crap Okay, not everybody. Most of the guys gave crap answers, and they were
but when
crap.
you did it, he gave you a hard
And then
time
I would
about
give
it.
crap answers too. I'm like, oh, Carlos put this answer down. I'll put that down, but like change the words a little bit. Ho ho ho. And then you're
Yeah,
right.
and then I come up to him first, and he's like, "Oh, okay, thank you." And then he gets to you, and he's like, "What the heck is that, dude?" And like,
Yeah, he's like, what is this? I'm like, oh, and I tried to explain it, but he didn't buy it. So then
no.
I actually had to like start trying to do good
Well,
in that class.
yeah.
But even then, I didn't really try that hard. So
No,
just because
I didn't
he
really
would lecture
either.
for so long, and what he was
Okay,
saying to some people didn't make sense, but to me, it I mean,
I
I
mean,
know
if I was just paying attention, it kind of made sense. If I was zoning out, only like half of it made sense.
I feel like I know the Bible pretty well, so I didn't even have to really pay attention a whole lot, and then I'd get to the test, and I'd be able to just kind of, you know, be like,
Yeah.
well, that makes sense with what I think,
The
so
tests
I'll
weren't
just put
even
that
worth that
down.
much. It was mainly like the memory quizzes, and I always like did fine on them. I always like got like 90, 95% on them, which was all good. But then I don't know if you remember, but since I was always zoned out, I remember there's this one day I was just staring at the window at like a flock of seagulls, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
and I was like, wow. And literally in my head I was like, wow, the soccer field looks really nice, and yeah, I'd like to run out and scare all those seagulls. And then I hear Carlos, Carlos, and I'm like, huh, what? Like, my mind was like literally done. Like, I was so dead. Like, my brain was just shut off so many times. And then and now, like, to this day, some of you still joke about, like, Carlos, the classroom's in here, buddy. It's
Well,
like,
one time
no.
senior year, that happened to me. So junior year, I trained myself to be able to zone out while focusing on somebody with my eyes.
Exactly,
So I was watching
exactly,
with my
dude.
eyes, but then my mind would be somewhere else. And so I did that senior year one time because I trained myself during junior year. So senior year, I was doing that, and then he asked me a question or something. I can't remember. And then he was like, "Micah, where are we?" And I was like, "Right here." I'm here. Yeah.
And I even remember, like, there was this one day when Mr. Tinkham, we were in his actual classroom instead of our works classroom this time, and he actually like had a conversation with us about it. And I remember he went up, he talked to you, Mike, and he's like, "So Micah, what do you think you're gonna do better?" And you're like, I'll probably just take some notes and like try to pay attention more." And then I just felt so bad because he called you out specifically first.
Yep.
And so I tried to like relieve the tension in the situation because I knew you weren't like very comfortable when he was asking you that. And so I went, I'll try not to stare at the window so much. And he's like, thank you, thank you. And I will say, after I told him I would stop staring at the window, I literally stopped staring at the window. There was never a day afterward when I didn't when I stopped stared at the window. Like, I literally stopped doing that. It was just that before I told him I would stop staring at the window, I would do it like every other day.
Yeah. I never took notes in any class.
No,
And
none
then
of us did.
even in college, people are like taking notes, and I'm like, I have a
Nah.
book. This is called book. I spent
book
$100 on
book
this book.
book
I'm gonna read
book
it.
has all knowledge. The book has all the knowledge in there
I know,
for me.
like,
All what you need to do is read the
read
book.
the
I don't.
book. Why do I gotta write down what the book says? I don't need to rewrite the book because it's right there. And so people are like,
Mhm.
why don't you take notes? Blah, blah. I don't understand how you could pass and not take notes. Because I already have notes. They're printed out for me in the way that it's supposed to be written out. And it makes sense how it's written out because I don't have to make sense of it myself to write it out because the book already makes sense of it and writes it out itself. So there's no point in me taking notes because I already have notes in my book,
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
in my super
Um,
expensive book. Where is it? Oh, it's upstairs. Yeah.
and also, I mean, to this day, I'm still like kind of like on the notes.
To this day.
At least for now, I am, because like a lot of it is just stuff I've done before, but like slightly different, which is fine. But I also, I also remember like one time he told us about how Mr. Annis was like watching one of our classes, and Mr. Annis like, so y'all, are they all like supposed to take notes or something? Like, he said it in like his accent voice. I know I did an awful job imitating it. But then Mr. Tinkham, like, he told us like he was he was like, yeah, they were all supposed to take notes. Yeah, like he
Yeah.
said that. He pretty much said it like that, but that didn't change my mind. Like I was just getting sick of taking notes. Just, hated it. So yeah, that was our Bible class. Now, this might be just the one other class I'll talk about since maybe just one other class after that, but biology.
Yeah.
That class. So
Great
out
class.
of
What a great class.
so like this is the class. I'm not gonna say our teacher's name, but they would get
Why not?
mad at us for not taking notes. Pretty
Every
much.
teacher got mad at us for not taking notes.
No. But her especially, she would get mad.
Well, she would
because
she
we
would force us
wouldn't
to take
we
notes,
wouldn't
like-
take notes, but we would still pass the tests. Like we would still pass all the tests.
Because I have notes.
And she's
It's in
like,
the book.
so it's in the book.
I
Yeah,
read the
exactly. And I remember, like, so basically every test was like, I would just pass and, we'd pass decently. And she's like, how do you study if you guys don't take notes? And I'm like, oh, she's slowly figuring it out. And we're like, we don't. Like, I obviously I didn't tell her that we don't study, because then she would have taken that.
I think
like,
we all just shrugged our shoulders. We're all like, whoa. Because we would sleep. Well, okay, we would, like, not sleep.
Nah.
We wouldn't fall
You guys
asleep,
would just...
but...
Okay, it was like me and Legend were like actually like sitting upright, but like our hands were just on our face all the time as like we try to keep our head up. You, Josiah, Jacob, and Josh would all just lay your heads down sideways and just look at
on our
whatever
arm.
she was showing at the whiteboard.
Because it was so boring. It was like, oh my gosh. We're talking about, like cells and
Mitochondria and
ribosomes,
mitosis and
mitosis, yortosis.
yeah, we were like just making mitosis jokes all the time. And I remember she like had you four like staying like after class so she could talk to you. Like, what exactly happened over there? Like, what was she talking to you guys about?
You guys need to pay more attention in class. It would be helpful if you took notes. Just like stupid courtesy stuff, Like, I don't give a crap, woman. I'm passing your class, like, greatly. I have, like, a solid, nice 80% in your class right now.
Woo! That's overachievement right there, man.
And
Like
she
in
was like-
in the boys' eyes, 80% is overachievement.
I know, right? And she's like, and it was easy, so easy in her class. I never studied. I never did anything. I would just sit there, half asleep, watching her do her little stuff on the whiteboard. And then, she's talking to us about taking notes and blah, blah, blah. And Josh is like, yep. He's the only one talking. And then we all left, so. And we never did anything. We did the same exact. I think we tried to sit up more. Like, we didn't do the laying our head on our arm thing. But we tried to, actually look like we're paying attention.
But we weren't.
But we didn't.
I feel like junior year is when we started to develop that skill, though. And then that skill carried on into senior year.
Being able to.
And it actually came in very handy multiple times.
Yep.
I
I remember the final for that
So-
year. Oof.
Okay, yeah. I actually want to talk about that final. I didn't study for that final. Did you study for that final?
Okay.
I
was
like
during
maybe
quarantine.
briefly. Yeah.
It was during.
We'll
okay.
talk about quarantine later, but yeah, let's talk about that final.
So her class was like the second half of it was during quarantine, but we all came back for finals because this is Montana and no one gives a crap about COVID. So, so I didn't study, and I did like hardly any of her assignments during quarantine. Like, I sucked at online school. It was trash.
Yeah, me too. It
And I
was
didn't learn
so garbage.
I didn't learn a single thing from her class from March to June. I didn't learn a single thing. And so we walk in and I'm like stressing over this final because I didn't study at all. I played Warzone with the boys instead.
Yeah.
And so we go into the final. I sit next to her pet turtle, and I'm sitting
Koopa.
there. Koopa was her turtle. Yeah. And I'm looking at these questions, and they're all about cells and plants and terrain and blah 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 blah.
The brain and yada yada yada.
Geography and
What grade did you get on that thing? Just go ahead and tell them. What grade did you get despite the fact that you didn't study? I got an 85. I got an 85.
I think I got like a 70 something. But
still, like,
I didn't study.
I was so shocked. I didn't study, and I passed with what my standard is overachievement, of course. But yeah, like, we still did it. And like, she probably got, like, super salty at us. She's like, how do they do it? They're like wizards or something.
I was
we use magic. Yeah. Yes, we use magic.
Magic. I remember her specifically telling me, Jacob, and Josiah one time, like, you guys never study, or maybe you were there too. You guys never study. How do you pass the classes? And we're like, I don't know. Because her class was so easy. It was literally common sense. Where's the nucleus? It's the big thing in the center of the cell. That's where it is. Like, not that hard.
Yeah, it's the big thing where. Where's the cell? Where's the cell wall? Well, if you think of a wall, you think of a wall. It's a wall. It's literally a wall. So yeah, that was pretty much our biology class. Now I want to talk about. I don't know if I want to mention this other teacher's name because. Well, actually, no. I think it's fine because we don't have anything bad to say. It's just our mental, like, attitude toward the classes that kind of determine how we did. It was our literature class. And to be honest, there's not much to say. I only just want to say one thing. Whenever we like read over like a play or something we were supposed to, we were kind of like, Jacob reads in class, and we were all kind of reading like that in class. And just writing papers every now and then. It wasn't that hard of a class, to be honest.
It was easy.
But I still, to this day, remember whenever she would leave the classroom to talk to whoever wanted to, like, read the book by themselves outside, like, in the hallways, I would literally just prop my chair up so that I could just lay down flat. Like, I would prop up 2 chairs, lay down flat, and have my binder over my face to keep all the light out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of. That was kind of fun to do.
I'd always read with Legend or Josiah or Jacob, and we wouldn't like read. We'd just be sitting there like, doing high school crap.
And I will say, there was this one other kid in our class. I'm not gonna say their name, and this person was like a teacher's pet, to say the least. And also, I will a little backtrack to Tinkum's class. Whenever Tinkum would occasionally ask us questions, and he would do it in a specific order too. And whenever this person got picked, they would always respond with, like, literally every single time they would respond with like, I may be wrong, but this, and that, and obviously they were wrong, like, every time.
Every time they were wrong, every single time.
Yeah.
And then you try to
so then that happened,
to them,
and we were with this person. We were always like, slightly annoyed with her. Like, we didn't really hate her, like, at the time, but like, we were just slightly annoyed with her just because she would say
freshman, sophomore, and junior year. I never thought that she was, like, I felt almost kind of bad for her those years a little bit. Because
senior year's a whole different thing. I don't know if we'll actually if I want to talk about this person during senior year, because it would literally turn into like a 6-hour podcast, and I rather not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that pretty much happened. And it was just a little nuisance. I mean, I think I eventually got over it. And plus, it wasn't something that genuinely bothered us or like triggered us. It was just something for us to laugh at, just because it was,
Well, and I felt
in our
bad
eyes,
for her.
ridiculous.
Like, oh, so sad. She tried so hard, but she was so wrong every time. But senior year, it was
So
just
yeah,
another level of what the crap's going on.
yeah, I know. We didn't know anything. Yeah. Anyway, so then all of a sudden around March, we got a little quarantining happening.
Yep.
And let's talk, before we talk about what our like house lives were and what our social lives were like, let's talk about like how, like, what we had to do for classes. So instead, we had like Google Meets is what we did.
Yeah.
And we would have like at least 3 a day. Sometimes we would have 2, but we would have like one around 9, then one around like 10,
12.
and then one at 11.
Yeah. We had all the morning classes.
Mm-hmm.
No evening.
And so I remember, usually my parents were like, all right, guys, we should like start a routine and stuff and like be up and brush our teeth and like dressed up and ready to go. And I was like,
Bruh.
no. So
Bruh.
every like 10 minutes before a class, like I would set my alarm, and then like I would wake up and I'd still be in bed, and like and I just open up my laptop and then go into the meet, and I'd still be in bed laying down as the teacher's lecturing during the class.
I remember that. I remember seeing you. So Seth still worked at Walmart as a stalker back then. This was before he was pharmacy guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't go to work till like 1:00, and he would get mad at me because I'm in a Google Meets with my class, and he's like, "Micah, you're slowing down the Wi-Fi," because he's playing TF2. And I'm like, bruh, I'm in class. I can't just not show up to class. I mean, I could have, but they would have been unhappy. So. But yeah, I hardly ever. I mean, I think for my first 2 classes, I never showered. But for my last class, because we'd always have 3 a day, I would shower for my last one.
Yeah.
Because
I would always have
a
like some
hour
kind of
break in
drink
between.
with me too. Like I would always like be eating some kind of cereal or like pizza or like just whatever.
I ate
And
granola
just
bars.
drinking
It was great.
granola there. And like the funny thing was, we had this group chat like as class, and we would just like text back and forth and stuff on it during
Well,
the
that's how it
class, and it'd be
started,
super
yeah.
fun.
We still have that group
And
chat,
then-
but it's kind of.
And then there's a Snapchat meme that you made, because there was a time when like I actually had my camera on and my laptop propped up over my bed, but there was a time when I like you noticed that I was just laying down, and you couldn't see my body laying down, but you would notice like my knee up with like my blanket covered over it, and so you text me, you're like, dude, are you asleep? And I'm like, yeah. And then I get up and you see me on the camera, you snapped a picture of it, and you typed the Return of the King. And then that's when we started making, you would like on Snapchat, you would like, you like draw colors and stuff. You would draw a king, but like it would look really awful, and it looked like a really awful Simpson.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like that was kind of funny. Like that was, we would just do some stuff that were like that was just super hilarious to us. But then I think, so yeah, I mean that was like how all of our morning classes went. Now in terms of our Tinkum last like end of the day class, he would always like,
Ugh.
all the classes are supposed to be like half hour long, 45 minutes maybe, but like he would go over every single time. And that just kept, and it even turned into a joke where like we would all place our bets in to see like what time he would stop.
Yeah.
And even he knew about it. He's like, all right, so I ended at 11:42. Whoever betted 11:42 wins. Ha ha. And And so yeah, that pretty much happened. And I feel like there was one day where I texted you and I'm like, dude, if it goes at 11:30, I'm closing my laptop. And I actually did that.
I had to do that too one time because Josh was texting me and he's like, "Hey, you want to play Warzone after this?" I was like, "Yeah." He's
Yeah.
like, "You want to play Warzone right now?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I just closed
Yeah.
it.
Let's talk about Warzone actually.
All right.
Cuz at the time, since we were quarantined, we were all home, and like I feel like quarantine like kind of boosted game sales and stuff because more
Probably.
people were like
Boosted
at
everything.
home, not really doing
YouTube.
anything, just playing more games. And so you texted me one time, you're like, "So Carlos, you want to do you have like Friday the 13th? Like what games do you want to play?" And I suggested to you, "Well, we could try Warzone. I mean, I haven't played it before, but it's a free game." And you're like, "Oh, dude, yeah, let's try Warzone." And that's what kind of kicked off our whole Warzone series on YouTube. Shameless plug right there, but you
Yes,
can
go
feel
to the
free to
YouTube channel.
watch.
Look at all the
You can't,
Warzone videos. Yes.
yeah. But then when we play Warzone, it'd be like me, you, Legend, and Josh. And sometimes Josh wouldn't be able to play because his Wi-Fi was garbage.
Josh's
But we would
Wi-Fi
sometimes
was worse
also
than mine. I couldn't believe it.
yeah.
His Wi-Fi
And
is
then
so bad.
and then we play Legend too, and like sometimes Legend would rage, and sometimes I would rage as well.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
haven't
that
learned
was
Legend
like a
right
lot
now.
of fun. That was probably like my favorite thing to do. Just and like sometimes, not gonna lie, we would skip a class to like play Warzone.
Did we ever skip
Like
a
depending
class?
on no, yeah, we've skipped online classes to like
Which one did
play
we skip?
or no, um, literature.
We skipped literature?
Yeah, it was like because
Wow.
it was like on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, and like not gonna lie, we were all like I don't know, like none of us really wanted to be there at all, and so like we were
I
like,
didn't
you know
learn
what?
anything in literature. I mean,
Yeah, we
even this
yeah,
year,
it
I
was
didn't learn anything in literature. Or not this year.
mhm.
Last year, I guess. Senior year.
um But yeah, I mean, that was also the time where like me and you like hung out a lot more. Like obviously not in person because like my parents like freaked out, and for like 2 weeks I wasn't allowed to like leave the house.
My dad was, yeah, he was like, "This is serious." I'm like, "Okay, yes it
No,
is."
it's not. But
I
anyway.
even tried to argue with him, Seth, and my mom when it was first a thing. And okay, right now I think yeah, COVID's real and it kills people, but
Occasionally, but like okay, the daily death rates are like a little over 200
the
now.
the best thing to
and
do.
because of like the vaccine and stuff, more people die from like other terminal diseases and car crashes like way more often than COVID deaths.
The
And
best
yet
thing to
our
do is to
government,
get
our president of the United States, the CDC, the federal government, all the people on the political left, and like almost all of California, they're all like still freaking out over it, and they're like, "Oh, people are dying, you white supremacist brainwashed Republican." It's like, what?
what
No,
what
just
the
you
best
go to
the best
Google.
the best thing to do for any virus that shows up is you get herd immunity, so you let it spread. You don't purposely spread it, and you protect the older and the ones that are going to get sick from it.
Yeah.
But the healthy people, we get it, and then we get rid of it because we beat it. And then when we have kids, our
Yeah.
kids are already immune to it, just like smallpox and everything else. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And creating the
then-
vaccine just made it to where we're
It literally
we're just delaying the process.
so like
right now.
now okay, vaccines are like actually better for like statistically, like the daily death rates are a lot lower now, but like now people now like Biden actually signed an executive order like making businesses with over 100 employees to mandate vaccines, and there's actually a lot of businesses getting their lawyers ready so that once this executive order comes to play, they can file lawsuits against this unconstitutional BS. So
I have no problem with the vaccine. I don't care if you get the
No,
vaccine.
I
I don't
don't-
care if you don't
here-
get the vaccine. It's your choice. But don't make me get it. And I'm not against getting it. If someone
Exactly.
said, get the
Yeah.
vaccine, I wouldn't mind getting it. It's not like I'm against getting it. It's just, don't force me to get it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not how things are supposed
All
to
right,
be.
here's my philosophy on this. I am not going to judge you if you start to wear a mask or not. And I'm not going to judge you whether or not you're vaccinated. If you are uncomfortable with something and you don't feel safe, get the vaccine and don't worry about other people, okay? And
Well, you need to worry about
what?
other people. Be smart. You have to be smart. You can't just
I
like,
mean,
ooh, I have COVID. Let me get all my friends, and then we can get COVID. Don't have a COVID party. That's stupid. Don't have a COVID party. If you get COVID, you do the right thing and you stay home because you're sick. But if you have any sickness, you're supposed to stay home and stay home when you're
anyway,
sick.
so that kind of applies with everything, but like
That's
also
everything.
don't be like, "Oh, you're a horrible person because you're not vaccinated." Like why? Like why is that such a big problem? Okay, first of all, vaccines are not cures. Just to put that out there. Vaccines does not mean a cure. I don't know
Man, you
why
can't have
so
a
many like
vaccine.
political leftists, it just makes you feel better. Like it doesn't.
A
It's not a
vaccine.
cure. It's not gonna cure the thing.
Vaccines only work with diseases, not viruses. So all you're doing, because the body, viruses, they change. So every 6 months you're gonna have to get a new vaccine because they change. But diseases, they never change. So we have a disease for like hepatitis B, and we get that vaccine and then it's fine because that's a disease. But for viruses, you get a vaccine, it changes all the time. So there's no point in having a vaccine because you're gonna have to get a vaccine all the time. And I'm not getting a vaccine for a virus that's not gonna kill me. It's not gonna get me sick. I mean, why should I get a vaccine every six
Yeah.
months for something that's
I
not
am
endangering me or
I
anybody else
I
that
will
I
say
know?
this. Your chances, like you, Micah, you right now living in your little house, your chances of dying from COVID are non-existent. But I'm gonna put that out there right now. I mean, I
Well,
mean,
I
if
had
you,
COVID.
I,
I well, I didn't get tested,
you,
so I don't know if I had COVID. But I lost my smell and I had a fever, but it was for like a
oh,
day, and then I was
but
fine.
did you beat it? Yes, you did.
Actually, I
Why?
went to work while
Because
I
it's
had it.
not.
I didn't know that I had it until afterwards, but I went to work. Well, cause I took a 4-day weekend, and it was my last day at work before. It was like I didn't want to take a 5-day weekend, cause that's kind of.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's my last day. I have the next day off. I'll just, my temperature's like 101. It would be fine. And then I came home from work and my temperature was like 104. And I was feeling awful. And then I went to bed and I woke up the next day. And my temperature was still at like 103. And then I took a shower. And then I don't know what happened, but then I took my temperature after my shower and I was back at like 98. I was like, oh, sweet.
Oh,
And
that's
then
not
I had to
bad.
go golfing that day, so I was like, please, Lord, I want to go golfing. Help me. And he actually did so.
Yeah.
It went down to 98. And then I felt
Let's
great
see.
the rest of the day. So it was like 24
Yeah.
hours, I guess, that I was feeling like crap, but it
But
wasn't
then
that
you
bad.
got like that's how fast it took you to like get over it though.
Yeah.
Like just pointing that out there. But I will say we'll probably talk about the whole COVID stuff during our senior year because I feel like the first half of our senior year is when COVID affected it the most. Um but yeah, we'll talk about that later, but is there really anything else that we should
Um,
say? I mean, I don't think there's anything more that
I could
happened.
talk
I mean,
about
we already
me.
discussed how our online classes were and stuff like
I could
that.
talk about
So,
House and how me and a couple other guys got kicked out.
oh yeah, how did that happen?
So I was a chaplain, right? And they
Mhm.
passed out this like permission slip, like, do you swear to give your soul to the school for House? And I was like,
It literally sounds like a thing from Annabelle. You know, like Annabelle's like,
it literally was that.
You know, the
It was
doll's
like-
looking for a soul to like possess.
They didn't actually say your soul, but that's literally what it was like.
But they were asking like an unreasonable amount of
It was,
you.
it
Like
was-
that's
they wanted
that's
our
another problem.
Full commitment, basically. And
Mhm.
me and Jacob turned it in. Uh, like a half hour late, or something like that. We had a week to sign it, and it was like an online. I had to print it out, sign it, and then take a picture of it and send it to them. And
What?
it was
You
due
know,
at, like-
I mean, I guess it makes sense if they want your signature. It probably makes sense, but like, still, why would they even? All right, whatever.
It was due at
What were you
like
saying?
8 a.m. one day, and I turned it in at like 8:30, and then Andy was like, "No, you bad boy, that's wrong." So I was, and I was gonna be a house captain with Riley of whatever the red house was, the red one. Was that Aeneas?
Wasn't that? No, was that
Apple?
Crown?
It was
I don't remember. Aeneas was the yellow.
Yeah,
That's-
it was-
Anyway,
it was red, I think.
yeah.
And so I think it was Apgar with Riley. But then I turned it in a half hour late, and they're like, now you gotta prove to us that you do have full commitment. So then I had to write, like, an entire apology letter. And it was, like, a long letter. Like, my sincere apology. I was like, I felt bad about it, writing it. I was like, what the crap am I doing? You know, I'm only doing this because, I don't know. I don't even know why I was doing it. But I wrote an apology letter, you know, and that was like me kissing their feet, basically. Like, please.
Mhm.
And then, so they're like, all right, we'll let you back in. But you have, like, really awful grades right now. Because I had, I think I had 2 Fs and a D. And, like, there was, like,
Dang.
3 weeks left in school. And I was like, crap. And they're like, get those grades up to C's and you're in. I was like, all right. So I got every grade up to a 75 except for math. I got math up to a 68. And math was at like a 30%. So in 3 weeks, I brought math up from a 30%.
You pretty much did the impossible.
I retook all my tests. All of them. And I did awesome on all of those retook tests. I did all of my assignments. And I brought it up to a 68. And they didn't give a crap. And they were like, oh, didn't make it. You still have that one class that was a 68, so we're going to have to resign you. We're going to force you to resign from being a house captain. And I was like, you know what? I don't give a crap. I quit. And so I
As
left.
Bully McGuire would say, good riddance.
It was awful. And then Josh, I went golfing with Josh like a day later, and I was telling Josh about it, and he's like, "Oh, weird. I had like a 65 in math, and they still let me be a house captain." I'm like, "What the crap? What the crap, man?" I don't know why, but Stillwater. It feels like freshman and sophomore year, Stillwater loved me. Junior year, something happened, and the school just thought that I was like retarded for some reason. They thought I was stupid. I don't know why, and it happened with like everything, with like sports and like just the school in general. I felt like, not the students, but just like administration, they felt like I was just not worthy or something like that. And then senior year, I feel like I just kind of got known more as like I didn't try, so they were more like kind of I don't know. It was
Yeah,
weird.
I mean,
For junior year, I
Do
feel
you-
like everyone was just like the whole like not students, but the school was disappointed in me, and I don't even know why. I mean, I don't know what they were expecting from me.
yeah. I think the main problem is with the school is sometimes they have just unreasonable and unrealistic expectations for people. That was definitely my big problem with the school during our senior year. But anyway, how did Jacob end up getting
So
through?
Jacob
'Cause I
did
know
the same
he
thing I
wasn't-
did. So he turned his thing in late, and then they were like, "Kiss our feet." So he did, and then he became a house captain, and he was house captain into senior year for probably like 3 weeks. But then one of the junior girls, and you know, I don't like the junior girls. They're seniors now, but they are so annoying. Because they're like goody goodies. Like, look at me, I got a 99% and I'm still doing extra credit on my homework. It's like, I don't give a crap. I don't care. Anyway, so one of the junior girls got mad at.
Man.
She got mad at Jacob because they were supposed to have like a meeting every week, like a little 1-to-1 meeting, and Jacob never showed up. But it wasn't like an in-person meeting. It was like a phone call. You're supposed to call them, type thing.
What? Okay, Jacob. Okay, if you know Jacob at all, Jacob is awful when it comes to phone calls, when it comes to texting and emails, and like, just stuff like that. Like Jacob was like awful at like phone related conversations. So there's like no way he'd be able to like have proper communication that way. And plus, like it's not like we were quarantined at the time. They still could have like met up and like talked.
But it was supposed to be like a text or a call, and it was supposed to be like every week, like not like a hey how you're doing, but like a hey how do you think the house is doing, type thing. And Jacob never would like call her or text her, and so she got like triggered, and then she went to the principal and was like, hey, Jacob's not doing anything. So then they asked Jacob about it, and he's like, I don't know why I have to do this. And then they're like, you're out. So they got rid of him for having an opinion, I guess. So
yeah,
the house system was just, it turned into a power grab for the school. It was more of a like another way that they could control the students. And it wasn't student. It was like student led, but it really wasn't.
I'm gonna say this right now. When you try to like over control someone, like it will push them away. 110%, it will push them away. That's what happened a few years ago with my parents. Like when they were trying to be over controlling. Guess what? I never even wanted to go home after school.
I remember
at
that.
the time.
I remember you telling me that.
I would literally just stay after school with you because I knew, like, sometimes you would have to stay after and wait for your mom to pick you up or, like, your dad. But, like, there were, like, some days where, like, I just didn't want to go home. Like, just because, like, I felt like my parents were just being unreasonable.
That's
but
probably...
the thing is, but the difference between that and the school is when I talked to my parents about it, they were like, oh, shoot. Well, sorry about that. We're going to make things better. And guess what? Things are great now. The school, it's like, I mean, it's not like you can't, there is no reasoning with them. You can't change their opinions or their minds despite what you say. What they're going to say is, okay, well, thank you for your feedback very much. Thank you so much. You took time out of your day to give us all that really helpful feedback. And then we just won't do anything. Like, we won't think about it afterward. Like, I don't have a problem with them, like, rejecting certain ideas, but, like, them, like, just saying, they're good at saying the right things at the moment, but not, like, doing anything afterwards. And then maintaining their power grab, because that's literally all what they wanted. And then senior year, the whole power grab situation got worse, which we'll definitely talk about later. So yeah, I mean,
that's junior year.
That is junior year. We kind of went on a little tangent with some of the political stuff.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't have done that, but
yeah, and it's whatever. I mean,
I don't know how many people actually get this far in the video anyway.
Yeah. Well, like, here's the thing. But let's just end it off right now. But yeah, I mean, if you guys like somehow stuck around with us for that long. You guys are like absolute chads.
Give suggestions.
Love to meet you guys.
What do you want to podcast on, huh? We're open.
And also, if you like want to be a special guest, I think Ryan said something.
We're gonna try to get Ryan on the next podcast, which is gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text him.
Well, not the next one, but the one after that, because I want to do the senior year.
You want to do an overview of all of high school?
Yeah.
Isn't
and then.
But we just.
Okay.
Because anyway, we can talk about this later.
All right. Well, if you stuck around, thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening.
Peace.
Yes. Check out Warzone videos.